Okay.
Get some tunes going. All right, so just find a spot on your mat, on your block. And you can have slightly crisscrossed, you can be 1 foot in front of the other. You can find that comfortable position where you have a nice posture, but you're just like super relaxed and chill. So I'm not like seated sofa upright, I'm just relaxed. And I'm gonna start off just taking a deep breath in through my nose. Exhale out through my mouth. And I don't even have to have my eyes closed yet. Because you know how it is, when we first kind of sit down, we're not like super chill and relaxed. We're like a little like, what's going on? Our brain's going everywhere. So just find a comfortable position. Hands can be wherever you like them. And just take about 5 or so breaths. And if you gently want to close your eyes because it starts to feel comfortable as you start to get into that breath, then close your eyes. But take a deep breath in through your nose. Fill up your lungs. Exhale down into the belly. Bring the shoulders down from the ears. Let your sit bones press into the block. And just try to locate and find that rhythm to your breath. This is always the hardest part for me when we first start yoga. By the end, I'm totally like chill and breathing super easy, but this is the time that I take to just kind of check in and see how my breath is. Usually it's really choppy. Usually it's really up into my chest. So allowing myself to just notice, not judge, not be like, oh, why am I feeling that way? I just need to get my breath connected to me and where I know that I want to go for the next hour. And then as you start to settle into your breath and settle into your space, then start just above the crown of your head. And just notice the energy that's there. And then start to bring that focus all the way down, starting at the crown of your head and working your way all the way down to your toes. Noticing what feels really awesome and amazing. Noticing if something is really tight or just uncomfortable. Could be an uncomfortable sensation. It could be an uncomfortable emotion. Either are fine. Either are okay. Just recognize that it's there, but then just let it kind of sit off to the side. You don't need to think about it, engage with it. You just need to know and then let it go. And as you scan from the crown of your head to your toes, you will then work your way all the way back up to the top. And when you get back to the top, just check in. See where your breathing's at. Is it a little more relaxed? Less choppy? Breathing more into your belly? Relax the shoulders down from the ears. Let your sit bones press into the block. Find a little length through your spine. And then find 5 slow, deep inhales and exhales. When you find that 5th breath, you'll slowly open your eyes. Kind of notice how you feel a lot more chill and relaxed. You will come off of your block. And you're going to come into a tabletop. So we're going to set ourselves up. And I'm going to put both my blocks in front of me so I have them. We're going to set ourselves up and go wrist, elbow, shoulder. And then I go a little wider than hip, just so I have a little bit room to go side to side. So I always want to keep my ribs in, but I'm going to find a little cat-cow. Now, what I'll show you a little awesomeness, because here I don't get in enough cow, and that's just me, because I have kind of hyperextend. I can do that. So for me, I sometimes come on 2 blocks, and I'll do a little cat-cow where I get a nice big cat here. I'll come down to neutral, and then I'll drop into a little cow, and I get a little bit more into my shoulders than I do my low back. Because when I'm here, I come more low back, and when I come here, I'm able to get a little bit more controlled with the shoulder blades. So it just kind of depends. You can focus your cat-cow more on your shoulder blades, or you can focus it more on your low back. It just depends where you're being mindful to move with. So I'm going to come to neutral. I'm going to move my head, bring my chin to my chest, and then I'm going to bring it back to neutral, and then I'm going to bring it up. Now, never forcing past where you're like, oh my gosh, that hurts or that strains my neck. You just back off a little. So if you're like, oh, that's too much, back off a little and find length. And then we'll come back to neutral. So if I'm in neutral, I'm going to look to my left, and then I'm going to look back to center, and then I'm going to look to my right. And just notice how you can probably get your head and neck further one way than you can another way. And that's okay. Now, we're going to come into thread the needle like we did Tuesday. So same kind of thing. I'm going to take my left hand to the outside of my mat. I'm going to go hips over to the left, and then I'm going to go hips over to the right and bring my right arm, roll it up my body. I'm going to thread it through, back of hand, back of arm, back of shoulder. Find that nice little stretch. And then I'm going to bring it back up, and I'm just going to connect it with my breath. And I'm going to go into this 2 or 3 times. And I'm going to find that really good position for me. I'm going to feel that stretch in between my shoulder blades, down my spine. And I'm just connecting my breath. So on my exhale, I'm going to come into this. I'm going to ground into this hand, into this forearm, find the shoulder stretch. I might put my head down. I might keep my hand here and just gentle little movement in and out of there while I connect my breath to it. I might be really open, and I might be able to come here. Or I might be able to externally rotate and bring my hand behind me on my low back. Now notice you don't want your shoulder here. You want to bring your shoulder and externally rotate that shoulder and open it up so you're finding openness here and a stretch in your back as well. If you are really flexy, you can take that left hand and reach for your right quad and open that shoulder. Now you want to think about breathing. It's really easy to get our breath going up into our chest a lot, just simply because we're in a little bit of twist. When you feel good, you're going to bring it back down. You're going to come back to tabletop, my cat-cow. One of my faves is throwing things together. So if you're like, oh, wrist, you know, this is where we can throw in a little wrist, side to side. And that's where you can even come back into child's pose and reach it forward. And then bring it back up. They just flow together really well. And you just kind of move with what your body is telling you. So I'm going to go right hand to the outside of my mat. I'm going to go hips over to the right, keeping my ribs in, feeling that stretch, and that in left thigh, and then hips over to the left, keeping my ribs in, bringing this arm, rolling it up my body. Then I'm going to thread it through. Back of hand, back of arm, back of shoulder. I feel the stretch right here and in my shoulder. But I'm going to take 2 or 3 times to find the best body position for me before I just put myself in this pose. But I'm going to be mindful about all the other moving parts. So I'll set my head down. I'll ground into my left hand and my left back of my left arm. If it feels good, I'm going to bring that arm up. It might stay here. It might externally rotate. Bring it behind you. Open that shoulder. If you're really flexy, you can reach here. And then think about your breathing. And then release whenever you're ready. Bring the hands all the way down. Come back to that tabletop. Maybe a little cat-cow. Maybe a little forward wrist stretch. You're just wanting yourself to feel really good. Maybe you come back into that child's pose for a moment and slide your hands forward. Think about keeping those ribs in and pressing the hips back towards your glutes. And even maybe walking your fingers forward while you send those hips back to those glutes. Deep breath. Exhale. Then bring it back up to tabletop. And then we're going to find a down dog. So curl your toes. Bring your hips up and back. Ooh, I have tight calves. So I'm going to walk it out, and I'm going to check in and see how my body feels. By no means do I have to move fast. I could be a total turtle today, and that's okay. I just want to check in. And I'm going to lift everything. I'm going to try to make myself a triangle. So many times, and I'm going to show you this because it's really easy to see on my body. When a lot of times what you see people do in yoga is this. See if you can pick it out. Where I have no armpits at all. I'm just pressing all the way through. And that might feel good, but if you don't know your body really well, it's really easy to kind of hurt yourself. So think about pressing through your hand, your whole hand, and making a triangle. So now look, so my head's lined up. Now I have armpits. And it looks like a nice triangle. The other thing that people feel a lot is right here or low back because they're not keeping their ribs in. So we're going to bend our knees. We're going to look at our hands. We're going to step, hop, jump, float. And this is where if I can't touch the ground, or even if I can, but I'm tight and I'm like, ooh, right? And I will bend, alternate, bend and move. So I'm moving one, but I might use blocks. Why? Because I want to really get my hips open. And your blocks could be you can move them to your level. Now this is a really, really fun one. I'll show you in a minute. We'll do it on the way down. So ground into the floor, into your feet, roll all the way to standing, gentle little squeeze of that glute, bring it all the way up, and you go where you want. And you just do you. You do whatever feels good. Now I'm going to show you this one from the front because I got one block. So you're at the top of your mat. You're going to bring arms up. You're going to exhale. You're going to fold. You can have both those blocks there. But I'm going to show you an exercise we're going to do. Now we're going to go a little bit wider. A little tiny step out from hip and shoulder. I'm going to take my fingertips on my block and I want to keep my ribs in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend. Both my legs are slightly bent right now. I'm going to straighten my left leg and deeply bend my right And I'm gonna take my left arm and roll it up so my arms become airplane wings. Now, you can do a lot of things here. You can bind it behind you and open up. But then what we're gonna do is we're gonna bend our left leg, bring our left arm down, replace our left, and then we're gonna bend or straighten our right, bend our left, and roll it up. You can bind or not, your choice. And you can do this slow or fast. So just think bent legs, and the arm that goes up in the air is the straight leg. And you get a stretch in your hip, and you get a stretch in your shoulder if you add it in. And you just make yourself an airplane. And then we're gonna come back to center. So we're gonna come right here, and then we're gonna go fingertips to shins. We're gonna lengthen up. Then we're gonna plant our hands. We're gonna step back, hop back, or jump back, and we're gonna go high to low. So this is where if you wanna do Sphinx pose, you're gonna press through your forearms, keep your ribs in and up, gently squeeze your butt, and lengthen your head and neck out. So you're not here, you're here. Or you could be a baby cobra, same thing, or a full-on up dog. Now, curl your toes, meet me in down dog. So this is the fun part again where we get to go and use physics, right? So we're gonna get our right foot to our hands. So you can do that any way you want, or we're gonna come forward into bear crawl and bring our leg right in between our hands. And then we're gonna lengthen that leg high to the sky. So I step my hands back to get into this calf a little bit more. Woo! And then I'm gonna bring my right, come up on the tippy toe of the left, bring that right knee in and up to my chest, to my hands. You just practice it, right? I'm gonna grab my two blocks. I'm gonna shimmy back my back foot. My feet are train tracked. And then I'm gonna lower down that back knee and relax that back foot. So we wanna have good body position here. We don't wanna be down here. So we wanna use those blocks to our advantage. Here's the fun part. So we're gonna have the little angle on our shin. And we wanna have good body position here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press into this stretch. I'm gonna line up. So you see what I'm doing? I'm lining up my right knee with my right heel, feeling this stretch right here. So we're starting off with just breathing. So deep breath in once you find that stretch. Exhale and just give me like 3 or 5 breaths where you're keeping your ribs in, you're keeping a gentle squeeze here, you're feeling a stretch in that left hip, and you're grounding in with your toes and your heel. Now on your next exhale, you're going to hinge your hips back. Heel is gonna stay right there. Notice how my upper body didn't change a whole lot. And I'm finding the stretch now in the right hamstring. So if I had a block, I could bring it back here and find the stretch here. So this is where it becomes easier to isolate a stretch versus trying to keep myself up or where I need to be. Now it's free reign. So now we come forward, we put our foot back down, we maintain here, we find the stretch here. And then we hinge it back. It's just like a lever, right? And then you connect your breath to your movement. And you'll start to feel it kind of open up, get a little easier to move. So notice I'm not doing this. I'm not coming back and going like this. I'm coming, keeping my position and using that hip hinge to change my stretch from my hamstring to my hip. Just like that. Now, we are going, it's the fun one, I'm gonna do it from the front. So we're gonna, from this position, you're gonna walk your foot over to the edge of your mat. Now, you're gonna make sure that this back leg, if you need to come up on the tippy toe for a second and then come down on the knee, you wanna have that plank position like you just had. I'll actually show you from here. There we go. So I am not a box, I am more of a elongated plank. Now, I have this out to the edge of my mat. You're gonna come 90 degrees with your elbow, and it's on the inner part of the outer part of my tricep is on the inner part of my leg. I'm gonna take a deep breath. Exhale, I'm gonna lower my elbow down without moving my knee out or my foot. So I am not riding the outer arch of my foot. I'm gonna inhale, come back up. Exhale, I'm gonna lower. Inhale, I come back up. This is a mobility drill for hips. The more you consistently do something like this, the more you'll get that elbow to the floor. If you look like this is not the same as this. Now, if you get to the floor, because my left side, when we do the other side, you're gonna be like, holy cow, it takes me like 2 seconds to get to the other side. It's really crazy. But this usually takes me a little work. Once I get there and I'm like, whew, that feels good, right? Then I'm gonna walk my foot in maybe 1 or 2 steps, and then I'm gonna ride the outer arch in here. So now I'm gonna open this hip up. Now, I'll do a couple things. If I can find really good length here and not push out my ribs, then I might come here and do a little gentle twist, but I'm lengthening up and then coming here. I might, if it's too much, and I'll switch over here so you can see me, this way as well. So, I'll find this position. When I was telling you, like, I find length coming up here, I find length before I twist. If I feel like I'm falling into this hip, I'm gonna go with a block here. Or, if I just found my jam, maybe I can get to the floor, maybe I can't. And this is totally acceptable and fine. So I'm just trying to breathe. I call this the mom sway, little mom sway, if it feels good to you, but always going to a movement slowly. So, when you're ready, you're going to bring that foot back, you're going to hinge back, find a little stretch. And then you're gonna come to the side of your mat, because we did this Tuesday, but we're gonna do it again, because this is like, you're getting like my hip love. You're getting all my hip love today, because this stuff, oh my goodness, your hip will feel amazing, and then you'll be like, huh, the other side, we need it, right? So what we're doing, we're bringing that leg up, right leg, because that's what we've been working on, about 45 degrees on the heel. And then we want to look down at our left leg, and we want to make sure that that knee is not just directly under our hip. We want to move that out a little bit. And then we want to stabilize with those back toes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure this stays nice like a table, nice and braced, right? I'm going to take a deep breath. On my exhale, I'm going to press back. Ooh, I'm tight. And find that stretch in the inner right thigh. Sometimes you don't have to go down that far. Usually I can get my butt to my heel. Not today. And then when instead of holding it, because we tend to hold it and then hold our breath, I'm going to inhale and come forward. I'm going to adjust that a little bit. There we go. My foot wasn't quite 45. And then I'm going to exhale. There we go. That's a little better. If you feel like you can't go back a whole lot, make sure that your foot is out at a 45 and not like closer up towards you. So exhale, press it back. And the more that you just inhale and come out and exhale and go into it, you're able to get a little deeper, work the edge of that inner stretch thigh, or thigh stretch. I always say things wrong, it's funny. I just laugh at myself. It's okay. So once you're like, ooh, that feels pretty good, then you're just gonna bring that leg back. We're gonna hip circle. Hug the knee in, maybe donkey kick. And then I'm gonna curl my toes. I'm gonna bring my hips back, and I'm gonna do my down dog and see how it feels. Wow. Ooh, I'm interested to see how you feel at the end of this class. So bend your knees, gaze goes forward, step, hop, jump, float. Fingertips to shins, lengthen up. So bring those ribs in. If you've ever done a deadlift, you're gonna feel this all in your hamstrings. And then exhale and fold. check in from your right to your left and see if your right feels just like, whoa. And then ground into the floor, bend your knees, roll yourself all the way to standing. Gentle little squeeze when you get here. Yes, and bring the arms all the way up. Go where you want to go. Now we're going to make your left side match your right. And then we can actually do some like hip stuff. Okay, so shake it out. Let's bring the arms up. We'll go other side. So exhale, fold it down. Fingertips to shins, halfway lift. Ribs in, shoulders back and down. Stretches down those hamstrings. Plant those hands down. Step back, hop back, jump back. If you jump back, you want to land in a plank position. And then you're going to lower down, high to low. Go to cobra, go to sphinx. Just lead and press to those hands. Don't lead with your back. Keep your ribs in and up. Find the length. And then meet me in down dog. Walk it out. Check in with that right and left. My right is like, whoa, it's like Gumby. My left is like, what is going on? Now we're gonna get our left foot to our hands. So I'm gonna come forward into bear crawl. I'm gonna lengthen that leg high to the sky. I'm gonna square my hips to my mat and I'm gonna step my hands back. I'm gonna come up on the tippy toe of my right. Left knee comes in and up to my chest and then to my hands. I then am gonna shimmy back my back toes. And I'm gonna step myself up. So I'm gonna bring my back knee down, have my blocks, and have that slight angle on my front shin. Just that slight angle. So when we do find that stretch, we can push into it a little bit more in a safe position. So this side's a little tighter for me. I'm gonna lengthen up. And I have that little tiny, it's slight. Now what I'm gonna do is take a deep breath and I'm gonna exhale and press into that stretch, feeling it in the right hip, lining my left knee up with my left heel. Now you can stay here with blocks. If your balance is really good or you feel really good, you can take your hands like this and just gently press and get a deeper stretch while you're staying here. So we're just trying to hold this for like 20, 30 seconds. Breathing, keeping our face nice and relaxed, and feeling that stretch in the right hip. Whew. Now, same thing as before. We're gonna hinge back, heel stays. Feel that stretch, whoa, all the way down my calf. Now, this is where I can use these blocks. So this is where it's easier, because for me, I'm short, so then I just don't get, I compensate in areas in order to get somewhere. So using a block helps me. Now what I'm gonna do is now it's free for all. Now you inhale, come forward, find that stretch, keep your ribs in. And then you go back, Ethan, you can go. So it's just about finding that stretch and going from right hip to left hamstring. And yet keeping those ribs in. My upper body stays where it's at. My lower body is what's moving. And once it starts, so there's not really a like, hey, we do this a certain number of times. You connect your breath to your movement. And if you're like, whoo, now like suddenly I start going, oh wow, that's a lot more open. I can move that a little better. Then I kind of know it's time to move on. So now, I'll show you from this side because you saw it before. I'm gonna walk my foot to the outer edge of my mat. I am not pushing out my foot or my knee yet. I'm keeping it here. I'm gonna check in and make sure that I have a deep stretch here, and I'm gonna lower down that knee. My tricep is going to go along the inside of my leg. So I'm gonna take a deep breath, I'm gonna keep my ribs in, I'm not gonna push that knee out. I'm gonna exhale. I get this side, I get all the way to the floor. Inhale, come back up. My right side, I don't. So you might notice one side is a lot more open than the other. Now, for me, if I can get all the way down on one side, then I'm ready. I can tend to go into this side a little faster then the other side. But this is where just being mindful and listening to your body. So now I'm ready and I can walk this in. If you're not ready, that's fine. You can stay where you're at. Sometimes we don't make it to this part. Sometimes we stay here until we can get there. Now I'm gonna ride the outer arch of my foot right here, open up that hip even more. I might shove a block there to help. I'm gonna find length. And I like to find length and do like a little twist. I like to do a variety of things in poses, just because it allows me to connect to that pose a little more. It allows me to find out what I like in my body in those poses and what may or may not work for me. Because as much as we all like to look like that pretty pose every single time, it's not always a reality for us. So we have to honor what our body's telling us and then see what we need to do to work into those poses. So once you find what feels good, don't ever feel like you have to stay in a pose. If you're like, ooh, can't handle that anymore and you need to come to a child's pose, you always have that option to come to child's pose and just relax. And then meet up with us whenever you're ready to jump back in. So I'm gonna find 5 more breaths here. And then I'm going to ease myself back up. And I'm going to hinge back just to find that hamstring stretch first. And then I'm going to bring that leg back behind me and find a little hip circle, maybe hugging it in, maybe a little donkey kick up. I just try to get a little bit more movement into it just to see how much more open it feels. And then we're going to come here. So curl your toes, find your down dog, check in. Wow, that's amazing. That feels super good. Now, bend your knees, gaze goes forward, step, hop, jump, float. Fingertips to shins, lengthen up. Exhale and fold. Check in. Maybe you're grabbing the back of your calves. One of my favorites, if you can get there, which you might eventually, or you might get there now, this is one of my favorites because it feels so good on my back and shoulders. So I take my hands and I put them underneath my feet and I step on them. And then what I do is, see how it's easy to be rounded like this in my back. Watch what I do. I bring my shoulders back and down, but I don't push my ribs out. I put my weight back in my hip and I feel the stretch, deep stretch in my hips. And I can get into my shoulders too. And then you just release. And bend your knees, roll yourself all the way to standing, gentle little squeeze. And you go where you want to go. Woo. Nice. Okay, how are those hips? Hopefully those hips feel good and open. Okay, let's do this. Top of your mat. Bring your arms all the way up. Exhale, fold it down. Fingertips to shins, lengthen up. We're going to vinyasa through and we're going to meet in down dog. So you go wherever you need to, right? It's all up to you in your practice because it's your body. Now, when we meet in down dog, goal is to get that right foot to your hands. So you can come forward into bear crawl and lengthen. You can come up on those toes, or you can just bring your right foot to your hands. It's completely your choice. You can always help it or not help it. Now, you're going to turn on the big toe mounted the back foot, and you're going to drop it. You're going to take your right hand to the inside of your right foot. You're then going to walk your hands and turn your foot sideways. You need to adjust your feet so they're even. You can adjust your feet. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to push my hip back, and I call these ninja lunges. So we're going side to side, and we're just ninja lunging. I'm keeping my ribs in. I'm turning my toes up if I wanted a little deeper. Nice. Just a nice way to get into those hips. You wouldn't have liked this like 30 minutes ago. Okay, you're gonna come back to center. I want you to bend your knees, drop your butt back just a little bit, bring your hands to your quads. You can turn around too if you want to. And then stand up. There you go, stand up. So what I'm gonna do here, my feet are even, but what I'm gonna do is turn my right foot out. But I'm gonna shimmy my foot forward because I want straight legs first. So we're gonna come into a warrior two, but first I want you to see where your hips wanna be squared towards, like my hips are squared to you. If I'm this way, we're not going warrior one, I'm not a huge fan of it. I want you to think about lifting your heel and sliding it back. If your hips are going forward, I want you to lift that heel or move those toes. Okay, so and then look and see if you're about heel to arch with your stance. Now from here, I just want you to drop in to that warrior. So many times people do this. See that? You see this all the time? Yep. That's not what I want. So I'm setting up your lower body before we even think about the rest of the pose. I'm heel to arch, my hips are open here, not there. And all I'm gonna do is I'm keeping this position, I'm gonna drop that knee down. And now I feel this all right here. And I'm gonna slightly move so you can see how my upper body is. So if I'm straight legged, because I see this too. This is the other thing I see from people. They will just push that booty out. I want you to think about keeping this, dropping into the knee. See how everything stays? Right there, right there. Once you master that, then it becomes amazing. Because then you have control of your lower body, right? So now we're gonna go here. Find this, now keeping this tall, arms come up. Shoulders back and down, spread the fingers wide, reach. You have strong warrior arms, not wobbly warrior arms. So if I came by, I couldn't do that. Now, gaze is over the fingertips. You can always shimmy that front toe out if it's not out far enough for you. Now, keeping this whole lower body, we're gonna take our right arm. Oh, who's calling me? Stop calling me. Right in the middle of yoga pose. There you are, okay, sorry, phone call. Apparently somebody wants to talk to me. So I'm here. Now we're gonna take this right elbow right here, but I'm gonna keep this whole lower body engaged, and I'm just gonna bring this up. I'm also not gonna fall into this. I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna look at my fingertips. So your lower body hips should be like, woo! Now, keeping my core, I'm gonna bring my left arm up, and then I'm gonna bring it back up to warrior two. Nice, gaze over fingertips. Now you're gonna pinwheel your hands, turn your back foot, step it back into down dog, walk it out. Sometimes I like to do down dog, and then I do like a little lever with my shoulders and come forward into a plank. And maybe if I feel good and I'm really controlled about it, I might come here, but that just depends on my own low back and preference. But sometimes I'll just do this. Now I want you to bend your knees, gaze goes forward, step, hop, jump, float. Fingertips to shins, lengthen it up. Exhale and fold. Bend as much or as little as you want. And then bend your knees, ground into the floor, roll yourself all the way to standing. Go where you want to go. Okay, just had to check time. Okay, I'm switching sides because otherwise I'll be facing the other way. So you can stay at the top of your mat or you can switch sides if you want facing. So we're gonna do this side. We're gonna bring arms all the way up. We're gonna exhale and fold. Fingertips are gonna come to shins and we're just gonna meet in down dog. So this is totally just taking it however you want it, right? Shouldn't have to be super fast. You really should be mindful and just connect with your body, connect with your breath. Sometimes I just move and do poses because it feels good. I don't worry if it makes a sequence. I just want to move my body and feel good and check in and connect that breath to that movement.
So now what are we gonna do? We're gonna bring our left leg into bear crawl. We're gonna lengthen that left leg high to the sky. I'm gonna square my hips. I might step my hands back. I'm gonna come up on the tippy toe of the right. Bring that left knee in and up to your chest, to your hands. Remembering you always have the option to just step your foot forward and help it. Now, I'm gonna walk my left hand into the inside of my left foot, and I'm gonna drop my big toe mound of my back left and turn this foot. So now I'm ninja lunging again. So you're going to lateral lunge. You're basically going from here, and you go left hand into the inside, and you turn your body here. And then you lateral. Ooh, I got a tight left hip. So I'm just walking myself side to side. If I could grab my med ball, I'd show you the awesomeness that I could do with the med ball sometimes. That if you can't get down there, you can use it to keep your chest up. Okay, now we're gonna come back to center. I might heel toe once or twice. Hands to quads, stand up. So left foot goes forward. Back foot, I need to adjust. So I usually turn my toes out about 45 to open the hips up back here, right? And then I look down and I make sure I'm about heel to arch. So you just want to make sure that your hips aren't this way and they're this way open. Now, this is where not pushing booty. And if you want to keep your hands there, it helps. And I'm just going to line up my left knee with left heel. So we don't want to be here. We don't want to be way out there. We just want to feel it and we can come right into it. So adjust your feet. Usually we do not get into a yoga pose the first time. So knowing your body and knowing where things need to be and where you need to feel them and playing around with it. So once you find this, you can adjust those toes. My hips are open to you guys. I'm going to keep a nice tall spine. My arms are going to come out. So strong arms, not like wiggly arms, strong arms. Fingers are spread, you're looking over your left hand. Now, while keeping all that, you're gonna bring this elbow down. You're gonna keep that left arm engaged. You're gonna bring that right arm up and gaze at that fingertip. So I'm making a straight line from my right fingers all the way down to my toes. Like if a hurricane came, it is not gonna blow me over because I'm that strong and solid. Now we're gonna bring that arm back up. Bring the other arm back up. Find that nice warrior two. So you can come in and out of your warrior whenever you need to. Now pinwheel your hands. Turn your back foot and come back to your down dog. Walk it out. Now I want you to bring your knees down to your mat. Bring them out wide, find a child's pose, move those hips from side to side, set your head down. And just take a few moments to find about 5 to 8 breaths. So deep breath into your nose, exhale out to your mouth. And on that next exhale, I want you to rise up. Come back to tabletop. Maybe a little check-in with that cat-cow. Wow, that's way more open. Then I'm gonna walk my hand one step forward, curl my toes, bring my hips up and back, find a down dog. Check in. Sometimes if I'm starting to feel really open, I might take my right hand to the outside of my left ankle if I can keep my ribs in. And just switch. It's a nice stretch. If you can't get there, it's okay. Now I'm gonna bend my knees. I'm gonna look at my hands. I'm gonna step, hop, jump, float. Fingertips to shins. We're gonna lengthen up. Exhale, we're gonna fold. So checking in, seeing how it feels. And bend your knees, ground into the floor. Roll yourself all the way up to standing. Gentle little squeeze. Check in. Woo. Okay, we did Tree Tuesday. We're gonna do, I think we should either do Dancer or we should do Warrior. Let's do Warrior 3. And then I'll show you if your balance is awesome, you can go into Dancer. Otherwise, we'll work on Dancer on Tuesday. So Warrior 3s. You can always use something. I'm gonna use this. So this is gonna be my imaginary wall. It's kind of a scary wall, huh? So this is my imaginary wall. So if I was doing, or a chair, anything, right? If I was doing a Warrior 3, this is a Warrior 3. And again, I'm a stickler on balance. So you think big toe, pinky toe, center of your heel, and you squeeze your butt. Since I'm gonna be coming forward, I'm not gonna raise the leg here like we did in Tree. I'm gonna ground into my foot, squeeze my right glute, bring my foot here. Because, or even here, right? And just slightly keep my ribs in. When I'm ready and I have the balance on my foot, then I can go forward. Now, if your balance is not there, you got one of these puppies, right? This is your wall or your actual wall, even a fingertip. You don't want to be super close to it. I want to know where I can reach for it, right? So I'll set myself up where I know I can reach that wall. And I'm going to go big toe, pinky toe, center of my heel, squeeze in here, keeping those ribs in, and then I'm going to lengthen. So if this was my wall, I could touch it, right? And keep my balance. Even a fingertip will help. If you feel like you're riding the outer arch of your foot, think big toe, big toe, big toe, big toe, big toe, and ground it into the floor and keep your ribs in. Now, your goal is to come out of it the same way you came into it. Something I like to do if your balance is really awesome with these is incorporating movement and breath with it. So if I find this and my balance is like, woohoo, and you can be practicing warriors as you do this, or you can be watching me and then learning and then practicing. So if my balance is awesome, it's gotta be there first. I might do fun things like this. I might pulse. I might play with where my hands are. I might grab my back foot and go into Dancer. There's a lot of things you can do, but work on the Warrior, and then we work on building and connecting things, different poses to it. It's a lot of things to think about and be mindful about. So just honor where you're at and don't think about going too far right now. Think about making your body a complete straight line. So if you haven't switched sides, I'm going to switch sides so you can practice on both. Same thing here, big toe, pinky toe, center of my heel. Squeeze that glute. I'm keeping this, it's going to look exactly the same when I go forward. So I'm trying to make a straight line. And this is where it becomes really helpful if you have a wall. Because the wall, even with a fingertip, is going to help you and your body remember where it needs to be. And when your body remembers where it needs to be, when you take the wall away, it becomes easier. Another thing, if you're on carpet, that will matter too. Woo. So if you're on carpet, this is what I'll tell you about carpet. Because I've had some girls do like crow. We were working crow on carpet, and it's weird because it's just uneven and it's not really flat. And so they've gone from crow on the carpet, you know, and sometimes it's not perfect. And I'm just like, keep working it, keep practicing with your core and keep practicing that movement. Because what happens is then they come into a floor like this. And then they're like, bam! You're like, how did I do that? I'm like, because you've been challenging yourself in an unstable situation. Even carpet, a little bit. So what happens is she then becomes stronger. And when the floor becomes flat and very stable, she then becomes very stable because she's used to going up into an unstable position and having to stabilize. So carpet is not a bad thing. It's actually a really great thing because it'll help you do stuff. So hopefully we got into those. And you feel good. Okay. Let's do like 1 or 2 more just vinyasas, just to feel and check into our body, and then we're going into Shavasana, if you can believe it already. It's crazy how fast yoga goes for me. This is where I always say I wish I could just teach 2 hours of yoga, because let's just keep going. So bring the arms up. Woo, exhale, fold it. Check in. This is about you checking into your body and seeing how it feels. Checking in your mind. You're probably, hopefully a lot of things have come off your mind and you just focused on movement. You're gonna come vinyasa all the way through and meet me in down dog. So the purpose and goal is just to simply right now check in, see how your body feels, see if things are not so tight. Now when you get to down dog, I want you to bend your knees and just hinge forward back into a plank. And then you can even go knee down and then lower down. And find another up dog, cobra, whatever. Just gentle movement, whatever feels good. Sometimes this is a good one where I'm down here and I might just bring my arms up a little bit. And you don't force past, just trying to check in and see how I feel. And then we're gonna meet back up and down dog for 1 more time. And then bring your knees down to your mat, sit back on your heels, or just bring your butt to your mat. Whew, can't believe it. 9:44 right now, so we're about perfect timing. So what I want you to do, prop yourself up like you did the other day. Do you want, you can be anywhere. You can be like, taking over my whole thing. You could take, oh look, I have one, haha. You can take a bolster. I know y'all wish you were in my house, right? I got bolsters, I got blankets, I got all the things. You could do this. You can also do things like this. You can do this with a foam roller, by the way. So if you, I use my black one. So if you got like lower body leg stuff, this is amazing too. Doing something like this. This is great as well. Okay, so you are coming into Shavasana. I'm gonna switch my song here real fast. So find the most comfortable position for you. Prop yourself up. Close down your eyes. Put blankets on, whatever. I just need a yoga. Struggle. There we go. Okay. All right, guys. You're down on your mat. You're taking a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. And just allow yourself to settle into the earth. Settle into your mat. And just take this time to seal into your practice. So start to relax your feet. Your toes. The soles of your feet. Relax and release your ankles. The front, back, sides of your shins. Even let your kneecaps just sink down a little deeper to your mat. Really letting the weight of your legs and your feet
start to settle against the back of your body. Take a deep breath into your nose. Exhale out to your mouth. Release your thigh bones into the back of your legs. And allow your legs and your feet to be fully supported by the earth that's underneath you. Release that grip, that tightness that we hold in our pelvis, and notice how much more open, relaxed, released your hips are. Soften your belly. Relax the front, back, sides of your ribs. Notice the rise and fall of your breath. Take a deep breath into your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Bring your attention to your heart and allow yourself to break down some walls, let some people in, forgive yourself, and realize all the love that you have inside of you and all around you. Take a deep breath into your nose. Exhale out to your mouth. Release your hands. Relax your fingers. Allow your fingertips to naturally just curl towards the palms. Settle into your forearms, elbows, upper arms. Soften your shoulders down from your ears. Release your jaw. Relax your throat. Allow your tongue to rest naturally in the roof of your mouth. And let those little lines we get in our forehead, let those lines relax. Let all the thoughts, the worries, the fears, the to-dos, all the things that we keep up there and they just keep coming, they keep coming. Let all of those things go. You don't need to worry about them right now. They'll be there later. And allow your mind to relax as much as you are allowing your body to right now. Feel the weight of your body settling in to the back of your body. And feel your body expand. Feel the front and the sides of your body expanding into the air around you. And allow yourself to take up space. Enjoy that spaciousness that you created inside and all around you. And feel that connection you have to yourself, to the earth, and to other people. So breathe in love for yourself. And breathe out love and kindness for others. So take a deep breath all the way down into the belly. And just let everything go. Deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers, your toes. And with your eyes closed, you can turn yourself to your right or your left side, your choice. You just want to take a moment to just kind of curl up, bring yourself back into the world. And take your time as you do it. And then you'll use that arm that you're not using as a pillow to push yourself all the way back up. It can be on a block or not, doesn't matter. It's your choice. So take a deep breath, bring the shoulders down, bring our hands to heart center. God, I love doing yoga. It's absolutely one of my favorite things. But as I end every class, the light and teacher in me honors the light and teacher in each and every one of you. Namaste, and have a beautiful day.